On Delta TV News tonight, the State Deputy Governor, Sam Monday Onyeme, assures Deltans nobody will be discriminated against politically. Farmers urged to leverage digital technology to enhance increased food production and security. The Universal Basic Education Commission expresses commitment to reducing the number of out-of-school children in the country. And abroad, community kitchens in Gaza shut due to food and fuel shortages. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us on Delta TV. I am Blessing Usiabada. The State Deputy Governor, Sam Monday Onyeme, has assured Deltans that Governor Sheriff Oborevwori will not discriminate against anyone in terms of political patronage. Sir Onyeme gave the assurance during an enlarged meeting of leaders of the All Progressive Congress APC, Ndokwa Nation, in his office, Government House, Asaba. Pere Butu has details.
The meeting had in attendance members of the State House of Assembly, some commissioners, council chairman, managing director of the SUPADEC, Chief Festus Oshonogo, and other political leaders from Ndokwa Nation who moved from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, with former leaders of the All Progressives Congress, APC, including Chief Johnson Opone, the Right Honorable Olise Imegu, and Honorable Paul Okwe, among others. Sir Onyeme called on the APC leaders to be united and work as a formidable team to bring development and empowerment to the people of Ndokwa land. The Deputy Governor said the APC was one big political family, hence the need to work together to enhance the development of Ndokwa Nation. He noted that one of the biggest advantages of the movement of the PDP to the APC was that it would attract more democratic dividends to the people. Sir Onyeme said unity of purpose enhances peace and progress and urged the leaders of the APC to work as a formidable team to fast-track development. He advised them to be more visible in their support for Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to earn more political patronage. He said he does not discriminate against anyone, irrespective of political party affiliations, noting that almost all the members of the APC were once members of the PDP. Sir Onyeme urged them to avoid any form of rancor and should not look at anyone as members of PDP, as they were all now in the APC, and will work together to make Ndokwa nationality a model for others to copy.
And it's a golden opportunity for us to forge one front. And if possible, because it's possible, make ourselves, our ethnic nationality, a model for other ethnic nationalities to copy.
The member representing Ndokwa West constituency in the State House of Assembly, Honorable Charles Imetelu, and the Commissioner for Finance, Sir Fidelis Tilije, observed that Sir Monday Onyeme is the undisputed leader of the APC in Ndokwa Nation, adding that the meeting was a reunion of the political family. Also speaking, some APC leaders who spoke, including Chief Johnson Opone, the Right Honorable Olise Imegu, Honorable Paul Okwe, and Barrister Sam Chukwuji, congratulated Governor Sheriff Oborevwori for graciously accepting the invitation of President Bola Tinubu to help in moving Nigeria forward. They said with his leadership, Ndokwa Nation would be a place where people would be proud of and used as a reference point, and pledged their commitment to work together to bring the dividends of democracy to the people. I am Pere Botu reporting.
The State House of Assembly Committees on Special Bills and Peace and Security has held an interactive session with relevant stakeholders to integrate their input on a bill to amend the Delta State Community Security Corps Agency Bill held in Asaba. Favor Carfor brings details.
Addressing representatives from the Ministry of Justice, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, State Security Trust Fund, Directorate of Political and Security Matters, the Nigerian Bar Association, the Nigerian Police Force, and others, the chairman of the House Joint Committees and chairman House Committee on Information, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, said the issue of security cannot be overemphasized going by the security challenges reported across the country. He said it had become necessary to boost community policing by enhancing their operations and amending old laws. The chairman outlined that the intended amendment sought, which he described as apt, was aimed at enhancing the agency's effectiveness and accountability. Honorable Nwobi described security as a bane to any society, stressing that the state legislature would ensure that the safety of lives and properties of Deltans are prioritized.
We have deemed it expedient to invite the public to send in memoranda on their thoughts, their contributions towards this bill, so that by the time we pass it, it will be for the general good of Deltans.
Various stakeholders submitted their input to the sought amendments, both in oral and written form.
Our position, our thinking, is that maybe clearly we will look forward to a situation where we will have the amendment clearly defined.
It's very imperative that the person that I recruited or employed are of pristine character, so that we don't have to go ahead to arm the persons that will actually affect this society.
Addressing journalists shortly after the hearing, the leader of the House, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, assured Deltans that the issue of security in the state will always remain a priority to the state government. Favor Ukafo reporting.
The Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Mr. Bosun Tijani, has urged farmers to leverage digital technology in order to enhance increased food production and security. Mr. Bosun Tijani stated this during the Ogun Tech Forward Innovation and Startups Roundtable session held with startup founders, tech leaders and policymakers in Abeokuta, the state capital. The minister was stressing Nigeria's vast population, traditional farming practices and fertile arable land, maintained that without technology the country could not practice agriculture effectively. Mr. Tijani asserted that with the incessant rise in the cost of food, technology would bring down prices and reduce unnecessary foreign exchange spent on importing food that could easily be grown locally. The minister noted that this would transform the agricultural sector and enable precision farming, improving efficiency and enhancing sustainability. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Mr. Bosun Tijani, has disclosed that the federal government's plans to raise the contribution of the digital economy of Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP, to 21%. Dr. Tijani said the digital economy, as a key driver of the economy, currently contributes about 16 to 18% to the nation's GDP. He spoke on Thursday at a reception organized in his honor by his alma mater, Anglican High School, Quarry Road, Abeokuta, Ogun State. The minister equally met with members of tech community in the state, where he highlighted the government's plans and policies to drive technology innovations. He explained that the government has been developing innovation hubs across the country in order to expose young minds to cutting-edge technology, saying the government will soon launch a code club in schools across the country. For his alma mater, he announced fellowship program for top-performing students from JSS1 to SS2 yearly with a reward of 100,000 naira, uniform, shoes and laptop to each of the would-be beneficiaries. Dr. Tijani, who said he left the school in 1993, also adopted a building for innovation to be furnished with set of furniture and a smart board. He told the student that his experiences at the school have shaped him to become what he is today. The Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, the SOPADEC, has hosted students of the Nigerian Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, at its head office in Warri as part of the college's annual security study tour. The delegation was received by the Executive Director Project, the SOPADEC, Dr. Ebenezer Okorodudu, on behalf of the Chairman, Olurogun John Nani. Dr. Okorodudu applauded the team for their choice of Delta State and the SOPADEC for the tour, noting that the state's strategic role in Nigeria's socio-economic development and security. He emphasized that the SOPADEC's role in developing oil-producing communities made it a key stakeholder in both development and regional stability. Okorodudu explained that the SOPADEC was established in 2007 to manage 50% of Delta State's 13% oil derivation fund, aimed at addressing the long-standing neglect of oil-bearing communities. He described the Armed Forces College's visit as a recognition of the SOPADEC's vital contributions to regional peace and development. The leader of the visiting team, Brigadier General Al-Hassan Grema, explained that their tour teamed gathering intelligence for strategic security, involved visits to 9 states across the country. He stated that the 44-member delegation comprised senior course participants from Nigeria and other African countries such as Ghana, Mali, and Somalia, seek to gain insight into how institutions like the SOPADEC address security-related challenges. A major concrete landing jetty in Akugene community in Bomadi local government area has collapsed following a heavy downpour that triggered a landslide in the riverine community. Pere Botu reports.
The incident, which occurred on Thursday, May 8, 2025, swept away the concrete jetty located at the Akwanaka quarters with several meters of shoreline, sparking panic among residents. The jetty, constructed by the state government, served as a vital landing bay, facilitating the movement of residents and visitors using speedboats and canoes into the community. Reacting to the development, Chief John Singabele and others said the sudden collapse of the jetty caused widespread fear, with many residents mistaking the erosion for an earthquake and fleeing for safety. They called on relevant state government agencies to promptly visit the community and assess the extent of damage. The residents emphasized the urgent need for the construction of a shoreline protection wall to prevent further erosion and to protect the community from total submergence.
There was a jetty constructed by the state government. So during the jetty just drowned in the water. Nowhere to be found.
Thank you very much.
Thank God.
There was a government jetty here, a landing jetty here. And it happened that everything went down the drain.
Another sudden erosion also occurred in the community, where a concrete jetty was washed off in the process. The road badly affected, making the town vulnerable to further threat of erosion.
Others who spoke appealed for swift intervention in reconstructing the collapsed jetty and implementing coastal defense measures, warning that the community risks being completely washed away by the rising river current. They said some houses were already being threatened by the erosion.
We are begging the state governor to let them come to our aid and help us. If you look at the place, the houses are going down.
As at the time of filing this report, normalcy had returned to the community.
The Director General, Delta State Bureau for Communications and Orientation, Dr. Fred Latimo Oganesiwe, has commended the State Zonal Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, under the leadership of Commander Abubakar Wada Esquire, over seizures of large quantities of cannabis and other illicit drugs. Dr. Oganesiwe, in a statement, disclosed that the Delta State Command of NDLEA has been able to reduce circulation of illicit drugs through arrest and prosecution of 322 alleged drug abusers, tracking of local and interstate hard drug peddlers, street hawkers, as well as providing free counseling services and rehabilitation of victims. He said the state governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborewore, has presented new Hilux vans and other assistance to all security agencies in the state, including NDLEA, making it possible for the Federal Drug Law Enforcement Agency to apprehend a reasonable number of criminal elements involved in drug abuse, peddling, and street hawking of illicit drugs. Dr. Oganesiwe noted that Commander Abubakar Wada and his men have been working tirelessly with the State Orientation and Communications Bureau, non-governmental organizations, state committees, and stakeholders in the ongoing war against drug abuse, WADA, adding that WADA clubs have been established in secondary schools across the state to help create increasing awareness about the dangers of illicit drugs and drug abuse among youths. in the state. You're watching Delta TV Main News. Still to come, the Universal Basic Education Commission expresses commitment to reducing the number of out-of-school children in the country. Details of this story and many more will come after this short break. Please stay tuned.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita, prepare them to win every day.
Welcome back to Delta TV Main News, and thank you so much for staying tuned. Now the news continues. The Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, has expressed its commitment to reducing the number of out-of-school children in the country, particularly in rural communities. The Executive Secretary of UBEC, Mrs. Aisha Garba, made this known in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State at the opening of a two-day management retreat. Mrs. Aisha Garba stated that UBEC has taken seriously the implementation of its strategic goals of ensuring inclusive, equitable, and high-quality basic education for every child, as well as improving the availability and quality of teaching and learning materials in schools. She, however, regretted the poor access to funds from the National Education Pulse by state in the past, assuring that the present administration has now unlocked access to matching funds, including needs-based costing and targeted advocacy for counterpart funding and budget allocation. She noted that most of the out-of-school children are concentrated in rural areas and are predominantly from impoverished homes, with economic inequality fueling poverty in many vulnerable households. A National Youth Service Corps NYSC member serving in the state government house, Master Joshua Osayande, has organized an inter-schools academic competition festival, ACF, for some secondary school students in the state to further enhance their studies. The competition festival, which is part of his personal community development service, CDS, is aimed at equipping young children with critical thinking and essential life skills. Violet Monier reports.
Master Osayande in his remarks said the initiative was aimed to empower students and drive positive change by embracing the core values of leadership, responsibility, and entrepreneurship. He emphasized that the initiative calls for collective effort in shaping the future and unlock potentials that would build a better tomorrow.
The idea is basically to bring students together to give sensitization on the topic we have, building tomorrow today, leadership, responsibility, and entrepreneurship.
The Director of Administration, Government House, Asaba, Mr. Francis Eboka, and others, in their goodwill messages said the event was apt, especially at a time when it seems that there is a decline in the education sector and the high moral decadence among youth in the country. The convener, Master Joshua Osayande, for instilling essential life skills in young children by introducing leadership, responsibility, and entrepreneurship concepts at a tender age, and encourage other corps members to draw inspiration from his innovative approach and explore ways to support and expand such initiatives of empowering children to become responsible individuals who can drive positive change in their communities and beyond.
Now they will look for ways to make children think outside the box. This is one of such forum. I think it's competitive. I think there are sport events. There were things that had to do with.
And here, I'm sure this event has enlighten the students. It's very educative and also very informative.
So I encourage other core members to take on this activity in whatever field they can. The most important thing is that they are affecting lives and they are building our tomorrow. So I will encourage them to do that. Some of the students spoke on the knowledge acquired and expressed appreciation to the convener.
I've gained a lot and I'm so happy coming here. And I just hope that God will bless and prosper Uncle Joshua for the great work he's doing. Thank you.
I learned a lot, like building up things, making up careers and all of that. Thank you.
I learned a lot of things from this competition. I learned that it's not only about being first, it's about learning new things each and every day of life. And it's about being focused on our goals and trying our best to achieve it despite the obstacles in life.
I want to say thank you to him for his insights and his creativity, his creative mind to bring up all this.
The event featured debates, word search, spelling bees, spoken words, an interactive section on the theme of the academic competition fest, Building Tomorrow Today, Leadership, Responsibility and Entrepreneurship, among others. High point of the event was the presentation of awards to students who won in the various categories. Violet Monye reporting.
The Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, has said the menace of Ponzi schemes is spreading fast in Nigeria, vowing to prosecute corporates involved in fraudulent activities. The SEC made the threat during an awareness campaign at the Day Building Materials Market in Abuja. The Commission reaffirmed its commitment to saturate public spaces with information on illegal investment schemes as a first step before taking legal action against offenders. Speaking at the event, Franca Chukwuogo, Executive Commissioner for Legal Enforcement at the SEC, cautioned against engaging with illegal fund operators commonly referred to as Ponzi schemes. Chukwuogo said the SEC considers it necessary to visit the Dede market to educate traders and equip them with the knowledge to make informed choices when presented with investment offers. According to the Commissioner, the campaign is a proactive measure to address the spate of fraudulent investment schemes in the country. This, Chukwuogo said, aligns with the Commission's broader strategy of raising public awareness about the danger.
You can now attend a court section in Delta State without ever stepping into a courtroom. Now, Delta State is stepping forward with tech-driven justice. With the sheriff in town championing the MORE agenda, the Ministry of Justice and the judiciary are bringing trials to the people, faster, smarter, and more inclusive.
The Delta State government has put together a remote platform for us to be able to help the correctional centers to access the courts even while they are not physically present in the court.
What approval from His Excellency. So the funds were released, the equipment has been purchased, we've done a lot of innovation at Ogwashku.
And I appreciate His Excellency, the Governor of Delta State, who has made it possible for the Judicial Court to come to Ogwashku Custodial Center.
Justice in Delta is now a click away.
Welcome back from that short break, and thank you so much for staying tuned. And now to news around the world. A third of community kitchens in Gaza, one of the last lifelines, have been forced to shut down in the past 2 weeks due to food and fuel shortages, according to the UN. The U.S. has confirmed that the new system for providing humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza through private companies is being prepared as Israel's blockade continues for a third month. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee said distribution centers protected by security contractors will provide food and other supplies to over 1 million people initially as part of an effort to prevent Hamas stealing aid. He denied Israel would take part in aid delivery or distribution, but said its forces would secure the center's perimeters. It comes as details emerged about the controversial plan, to which UN agencies have reiterated they will not cooperate with because it appears to weaponize aid. Since early March, Israel has cut off all supplies from reaching Gaza, including food, shelters, medicines, and fuel, leading to a humanitarian crisis for its 2.1 million residents. As the continuing India-Pakistan crisis takes a dangerous turn, nations around the world are urging calm. The initial thinking was that after India launched airstrikes and with Pakistan claiming to have shot down several Indian jets, a claim Delhi has not confirmed, both sides could claim victory and de-escalate. But there's a danger that any protracted tit-for-tat attacks could lead them to a far more damaging prospect. During past conflicts, such as in 2019 and 2016, it was the United States and a few other global powers that put pressure on Delhi and Islamabad to bring the situation under control and de-escalate. Now, passions are running high and the nationalist rhetoric has reached a crescendo on both sides. The neighbors are closer to war than in recent decades. And to business. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries' oil output edged lower in April, despite a scheduled output hike taking effect. The decline was led by a cut in Venezuelan supply on renewed United States attempts to curb the flows and smaller drops in Iraq and Libya. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries pumped 26.60 million barrels per day last month, down 30,000 barrels per day from March total, with cuts by some producers offsetting higher Iranian supply. The reduction comes despite OPEC, which comprises OPEC and its allies, including Russia, beginning in April to unwind its most recent layer of output cut. The group plans to accelerate the hikes in May and June, citing supportive market fundamentals such as low inventories. The full extent of the crisis or the rises will depend partly on the impact of attempts by U.S. President Donald Trump to clamp down on supply from Iran and Venezuela. Meta Platforms' threat to halt Facebook and Instagram operations in Nigeria could devastate 56% of the nation's 39.6 million micro, small, and medium enterprises. Industry players in the information technology space have explained. The further noted that such an exit would erode tax revenues and force businesses to seek costly alternatives as a $290 million fine dispute with regulators intensifies. While the implications of the potential exit are acknowledged, analysts say the tech giant is no stranger to regulatory clashes. Its track record includes major data breaches and privacy scandals in recent years. In the European Union, Meta has faced several hefty penalties, including a record 1.2 billion euros GDPR fine in 2023 for unlawful data transfers. In 2025, the company was also fined 200 million euros under the Digital Market Act for its consent or pay model, with the European Commission ordering compliance within 60 days or face further sanctions. In Nigeria, however, Meta has yet to pay over $290 million in fines imposed by 3 regulatory agencies for various violations. Nigerian courts have ordered the company to settle the fines by the end of June 2025. The firm challenged the penalties in court, but its appeals were unsuccessful. In response, the company threatened to withdraw Facebook and Instagram from the Nigerian market if compelled to pay. According to the Global System for Mobile Communications Association, Nigerian MSMEs rely heavily on Facebook and Instagram for sales, customer engagement, and brand visibility. The platforms have become essential tools for business survival and growth in Africa's largest economy, where SMEs contribute nearly 50% to GDP and represent more than 96% of registered businesses. The State Ministry of Information has announced the 2025 promotion interview for officers on salary grade level 3 and 4 and the clerical and storekeepers cadre in the state civil service. A statement signed by Director of Public Communication and Functioning Permanent Secretary Mrs. Theresa Oliko says those eligible for the promotion on 1st January and 1st July this year are to attend the promotion interview exercise holding at the Department of Personnel Management and Pensions on Tuesday 13th to Thursday 15th May this year by 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Officers are advised to come along with the original copies of their credentials, a copy of the last confirmation, promotion limited competitive examination passed, and any other document that will assist the committee. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has announced that results for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination will be released today. The board disclosed the development and official notice in Abuja. Ahead of the release, JAMB provided statistics on the performance of the 1.9 million candidates who participated in the exam. The figures show a staggering outcome of over 1.5 million candidates scored below 200, which is considered the average benchmark. This means candidates who sat for this year's UTME can begin checking their scores from Friday morning. Reacting to the performance data, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, said the results reflect the effectiveness of government efforts to curb exam malpractice. And to sports, the Nigeria Football Federation. The state governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff, has called on Nigerians across all regions to uphold the legacies of the late Chief Edwin Kagbodo Clark, popularly known as E.K. Clark, describing him as a patriotic leader and a conscience of the Nigerian nation. Governor Borewore made the call at a memorial lecture in honor of the late statesman held in Abuja.
The governor, represented by the State Commissioner for Water Resources, Dr. Isaac Weke, eulogized Pa Clark as a man revered across the country for his courage, uprightness, and unwavering commitment to justice and fairness. He noted that Pa Clark was a beacon of integrity who rendered selfless service to the people and would be sorely missed.
The governor and the entire people of Delta State, we miss him for his fatherly advice, for his uprightness, for his boldness and his courage.
Also paying tribute, the governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doyediri, represented by the secretary to the state government, Professor Nimbufa Ayawoyi, praised Pa Clark as a courageous leader who consistently championed the rights of the marginalized Niger Delta region. He urged all Nigerians, particularly Niger Deltans, to continue to struggle for justice and equity in honor of Pa Clark's legacy.
My prayer is that we keep remembering him and keep fighting for those things he fought for in this country, especially marginalization of the Niger Deltans, and indeed all minority elements in our country.
Others who paid their respect to the late elder statesman were the chairman of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, Ambassador Godnose Igali, and the paramount ruler of Oloibiri Kingdom, King Amalate Tuna. The memorial lecture, delivered by Professor Mike Ozekome, SAN, drew former President Goodluck Jonathan, former head of state, retired General Yakubu Gowon, leader of socio-cultural organizations in the country, including Ohaneze Ndigbo, Middle Belt Forum, Ijaw National Congress, and Afenifere. Also present were past and serving governors and deputy governors or their representatives, federal legislators, captains of industry, and the distinguished Nigerians from all walks of life.
Governor Sheriff Oborewere was among dignitaries that attended the funeral mass of renowned politician Ogweshi Henry Onya, who was popularly known as Ndozi Onya. The funeral mass took place at St. Christopher Catholic Church, Asaba. Governor Oborewere was represented by his deputy, Samonde Onyeme. The funeral mass was also attended by Ogweshi Ejiofor Onya, Honorable Bridget Anyafulu, Chief Nkem Okwafo, Sir Christopher Osakwe, President General Ohanaeze Ndigbo Worldwide, Senator John Azuka Mbata, Right Honorable Peter Onwusanya, Honorable Smart Mecca, Honorable Tony Onya, among other personalities. In a homily, Reverend Father Hilary Wande said that though death was a bad thing, it is an inevitable end for all men. He noted that while security could be provided for several things, such could not be provided over death. Reverend Father Wande enjoined Christians to use their time and dedicate their lives while still alive to the service of God, and admonished Christians to acknowledge God's purpose of creating them. He said no one knew the number of days or years he or she would live on this earth. Hence, it was important that Christians should dedicate their lives to the services of God. The Catholic priest described the late Ogbueshi Ndozi Onya as an exceptional human being, very generous and a likable person. The late Ogbueshi Henry Onya, aged 86, was a renowned politician and is survived by a wife, 4 children, grandchildren, and many other relatives. And now our thought for today. Kind hearts are not the gardens. Kind thoughts. Kind hearts are the gardens. Kind thoughts are the roots. Kind words are flowers. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Before we go, let's take a look at some of our major stories. The State Deputy Governor, Sam Monday Onyeme, has assured Deltans that Governor Sheriff Oborevwori will not discriminate against anyone in terms of political patronage. Sam Onyeme gave the assurance during an enlarged meeting of leaders of the All Progressive Congress. The Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Mr. Bosun Tijani, has urged farmers to leverage digital technology in order to enhance increased food production and security. Mr. Bosun Tijani stated this during the Ogun Tech Forward Innovation and Startups Roundtable session held with startup founders, tech leaders, and policymakers in Abeokuta, the state capital. The Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, has expressed its commitment to reducing the number of out-of-school children in the country, particularly in rural communities. The Executive Secretary of UBEC, Mrs. Aisha Gaba, made this known in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, at the opening of a 2-day management retreat. And abroad, a third of community kitchens in Gaza, one of the last lifelines, have been forced to shut down in the past 2 weeks due to food and fuel shortages, according to the UN. The U.S. has confirmed that a new system for providing humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza through private companies is being prepared as Israel's blockade continues for a 3rd month. That ends Delta TV Main News. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am Blessing Usiagwada. Have a restful night and goodbye for now.